on our way into camp, pulling a sled with some tools, making a base camp. So we're a little tool heavy this time, that's for sure. Excited to get out there and get started. So I think I'm going to use this tree here, go over to this one here for my hammock, and then over out there in the clearing someplace is probably where we'll have a fire for cooking and all that good stuff. So I'll get my hammock put up, get a little camp going, a little further along anyways, and I'll come back with you guys. We have it, I think, folks. You all right? Did you fall out already? So I guess I never did an intro. Purpose of this whole camp or this outing is we're coming out here to set up a base camp for kind of doing just testing their burning skills, testing out gear, and just getting out and enjoying nature. So I got myself a little canopy going here, got my hammock that you probably seen me fall out of once already. Good stuff. But yeah, we're just kind of working on setting up camp, and we'll probably work on doing some crafting, bush crafting, some camp improvements. But right, so here's pretty much camp improvements. The clothes hanging, the bag's hanging down. I got some weight off of it. Just kind of hanging there. Got a little place for a little tarp for kneeling on or setting my boots on when I go to bed. My shemagh hanging on this line so I don't kill myself on it, and it's a good place. Got that cotton bandana for pre-filtering, so that's going to be a clothesline basically for drying that out nice with sun. This little pile of brush that I had to remove to get this all in here, so I'll probably use that for, we've got a lot of nice hardwood around here, but that'd be a good way to start the fire. I mean, we cut it once, it's easy to break up, why not use it up? But then here's the back. I've got you know, the wind usually comes from that direction, so that's why I've got her pulled down that way, blocking the sun. And in the summertime, you'd want to block the sun too, but sun wouldn't be too bad on a nice cool day, but you got to block the prevailing winds. And then over here, a short walk away, this is what Mr. Modern Refugee has going. His is more of a get home bag setup. A little lighter weight and quicker to set up than mine, but both in hammocks tonight. So there we go, and then he's out getting some preparations ready for a fire. Like I said, we're setting this up more like a base camp, so we're gonna do a nice fire pit out there in the open, but that's what we got going so far. Setting up in these pines is I had to cut some branches out to make room for my gear, and I've got this big old chunk of fat wood here, and there's another one over there. So I'll probably use some of this, maybe split some of this up and put it in a kit. It's always nice to have resources like that on you, just a little bit, you know, possum mentality. Pack it away and use it for on another day. So I'm up from down there on the bottom. My shadow out of here. I like always put a little rock or gravel down the bottom of my fire pit. Lets air get in easier, makes your fire burn a little better. But anyway, this kind of looks like. We got a little spring here that we're going to use for our water source. It'll filter out. There's a dairy farm not too far away, and that creek that we have might have a little bit of that in there. So we're going to use the ground to filter it for a little bit. So I've got a little 16-ounce Sawyer bag that comes with my filter, and then I've got my bush pot that I'm going to fill so I can use that water to cook with. Even though I probably won't actually drink the water, I still want it to be clean. So I'm going to try putting my cotton bandana over, because they talked about doing that for filtering it. Probably not so much with the bag, but definitely with the pot. It'll make it easier. Or maybe not with the bag at all. Just goes to show you how these bags are not that awesome for actually filtering water. Luckily I got this pot and I can use that to top it off. A little bit of color, a little yellow, but you're going to have color because of the tannin from the leaves that's in this water. So that's probably as good as I'm going to get this bladder, because I lose a bunch of it. Luckily here in Michigan we don't need to be too stingy with our water. We trip over it. So all right, there's that. There's some. I believe they say you probably shouldn't use fabric softener on your cotton. Kind of makes it harder for the water to get through. Because I shoved that thing down in there and there wasn't much more than a drop of water in there. So there it's going in. I can hear it trickling in. Drink. But there we go. That should be good enough, because I got to carry this back to camp. But there's our water. Let's see about getting me some fat wood out of this piece of pine that I cleared out from my canopy. See what my filtered water tastes like. Tannic acid would be my guess.
give you a little exposure here while you're working.
So,
hold on here. All right, go now. Hold on. No.
So if you look here, you can see the discoloration in the wood. That's the fat wood.
Stop. Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm gonna come a little closer so they can actually see it.
Okay. Ready? So if you look here, you can see the discoloration in the wood. If you smell this, it's going to have like a turpentine, or it's going to have a really good pine scent to it. That's what you want. This is your fat wood right here. This was next to the tree. I cut it off. All the sap runs down in the dead branch and collects there. So in pine trees, that's where you're looking for fat wood, is at the branches or at the by the root base when they die out. So that's good for starting fires.
All right, hold on before you split that. Let's watch it. Make sure it's fucking good to go.
Well, I got this one here too. So.
All right, here we go.
Okay, so here's more of that pine. I was just messing around trying to make a feather stick out of it. I'm horrible at it. Horrible. But hey, you never know until you try, right? But I wanted to bring in for a close-up, and you can kind of see a little better what I'm talking about. See how shiny this is? It's got a strong, smells like pine sol. And then as you move up here, it gets more of a yellowish color from the orange. This is your fat wood. It's you know, you can feel the resin in here, and this is dry up here. So this is kind of what you're looking for when you're talking about fat wood. So don't go buying it at the store for $7 for a box, unless you don't have any pine trees in your area, because you can go harvest this all day long. Because pine trees, the bottom branches tend to die. You just cut them bottom branches off. Doesn't hurt the tree, and you've got yourself a source of fat wood. So we'll take a little minute and try out my water bladder here. In case anybody doesn't know, I can confirm that these are about useless. The preferred method is the smart water bottom, but there's some water in here. It fit nicely into this kit that I made that I'll probably do a video on later. It's got the 5 C's in it, so that's why I'm using that bag. I dig my filter out of here, and we'll give this a shot. Give her a try. I've had some off of Modern Refugee's, Mr. F's setup already. Tasted pretty good. If you don't mind just the slightest hint of dirt. I grew up out in the country. Our water had flavor, so I'm okay with it. You put a little bit of coffee mix in here, or if you did like a sugary, like the ones I have I showed you, you throw that in here and you're never going to taste that flavor. Now I wouldn't run that stuff through the filter, just to make sure you guys are aware. I'm not trying to do that. Let's give her a shot. Shred her on here. Flip her upside down, make sure we ain't got any fun. Yeah, it's not bad. Mine's got a slight pine scent to it. It'll do. It's water. So the Modern Refugee is over there having a cup of coffee. I want some coffee, but I didn't bring no fancy stove or anything, so I think I'm going to build a tripod so I can hang my cup over there at their fire, get me a little coffee going, have it set up for, maybe I'll hang my pot up. I'm not sure yet, but I'm a tripod because I want to make a tripod. So let's go make a tripod. Should we do a tripod? That's why I was done. den. Looking for pieces to make a tripod. Doing some camp chores. Probably should go get that there radio. Looks like I might have got a little sun today. I mean, I get burnt by a full moon, so it's possible. Oh. There. Make a tripod like I did in my first video. You don't need to see my head to figure out what I'm going to be doing here, but basically I'm just going to take and kind of interweave these branches with a Y. Use this one here to hang out over the fire, kind of like this, and that's going to be my tripod. I'll probably might get a stone or something, or I might be able to wedge this down the earth. Nope. We'll figure something out to weigh that end down. Don't you fret none. Fret none? I don't even know what fret none is. Yeah, so it'll sit basically like that. Pot will hang off of that. And that's my elaborate fire tripod. But we'll get it out of the way because we haven't even built fire yet. So here's my feather sticks. Yeah, they need a little work, but they'll probably get the job done, especially considering they're made out of fat wood. So, yeah, you don't know until you practice, right? Yeah, I didn't record myself here, but I lit this. It took me 2 matches, so if I'd have been one match, I'd have been probably dead, or I'd be trying to rush to make a bow drill right now, so I'd be dead. I never made a fire with a bow drill, so. But there it goes. I got my spring water bubbling away so I can cook my food a little bit later. We're going to sit around and we're going to talk about Sam Squatch. So here's dinner. I've showed this before on my channel. I've never done it in a fire pit like this before, but it's fully cooked chicken, shelf stable, with taco seasoning mixed in there. So basically all I'm having to do is warm this up. Some 90-second Uncle Ben's 4-cheese rice. I'm going to mix them together. I think I got a Ziploc bag I'm going to pour them into and eat them out of there, so that I don't have to dirty my dish. But yeah, we'll let that sit in there and warm up for a while, and then we'll chow down. Chicken, mashed potatoes, gravy, cracker, peanut butter. He's got a table, frickin' also a chair. Well, you know, we don't want to burn the place down. But yeah, good times there. He's got some lifeboat crackers. That's what's got the peanut butter and dried fruit there. I'm sure most of you have seen that on his videos before, but yeah, made us these nice chairs that are really working nice as tables right now as we go to cook our dinner. Mine's just about done. Probably is done, but I'm gnawing on a cracker right now, so I'm gonna finish that off and then probably get to eating. There we go, folks. There's dinner in the bag, so my pot stays clean. There is some coffee made out of the water that I boiled dinner in. So it's gonna, you know, it's out of that spring. We'll see how she tastes. The stuff we filtered wasn't bad. Had a slight, very slight earth taste to it. Nothing that made it undrinkable, and it really was just an aftertaste. It actually tasted better than the chlorine you get in city water, that's for sure. Yeah, there's my trash that I'll have to pack out and put together here in a minute, but I'm going to sit there, let that cool off for a second, then I'm going to eat. Here we all fed up. I'm sitting here enjoying the fire, enjoying the smoke, you know. I get that manly clone wood smoke there, so the women folks enjoys this that much better when we get home. But so I'm gonna do a little little sitting here drinking our coffee, and then we'll probably get some water for tomorrow morning so we don't have to hike over theirs and, you know, all that kind of good stuff. I forgot to say, my Starbucks is just covering up that earth flavor just oh so well. The barista just left, you know, but it's good stuff.
Was it a
I've been corrected. It was a barista. Thought he was a little hairy, but I don't judge. You know, it's 2019. You can't judge anymore, I guess. I thought maybe I could get a video shot before he gets playing around with his leaf blower again. But so there's my simple tripod or way to, you know, cook over the fire. It's got a log on the end there because I can't quite drive her down. But you could drive a spike with a Y, you know, pinch it down that way back there. But that works good enough. And then I just have two branches with a Y. Lean them in against each other, stick them down in the dirt a little bit, and there you go. I'm gonna boil them up some water. That way I've got clean water ready to go in the morning. Make some oatmeal and coffee, or you know, whatever I want to make with water in the morning. So we're just kind of taking a little time, getting camp kind of tidied up because it's starting to get dark outside. You can't really tell, but that's the way the weather comes from, and getting a little bit of clouds. There's a little bit of rain possibly on the radar, but nothing that we're too concerned about. But yeah, we're just kind of got all the camp chores done. Now we're gonna sit around and tell stories. Well, you can see the little dollar store chem light that I got. I threw up there last night for in case I need to be fishing around in my pack for a couple things in the dark, or when I walked away to go take a leak. It was a beacon of hope, and it brought me home to my little shelter. But yeah, I get paid $1 for 4 of those in one pack. I put it up around 10 o'clock when we went to bed, and it's still going pretty strong. So I'd say it was kind of a win for a little cheap dollar store chem light. Some water on to boil, warm up for some coffee and some oatmeal. Listening to the birds tell us it's time to get the hell out of bed. But yeah, not a bad morning. Alright, so there's what's left of camp. Nothing but trees. You can see back there. Had a really good source of dry firewood if we needed it, but we already had a good chunk of hardwood sitting around for us. So, but oh. You know, Mr. Refugee, he's all packed up. He was just pouring a little bit of leftover water we had on our ashes to make sure that we don't have any problems with not having this place when we come back. So I think he'd appreciate not burning his woods down. So yeah, just like to say thanks to Modern Refugee for inviting me out here and being able to bring you guys along, and hopefully we'll be able to get to do it again soon. When we get back to the house, I'll probably do a little wrap up of some things that I learned. So for now, I'll talk to you later. All right, so like I had said, there was I wanted to get with you guys and Gonna go over some key takeaways or some lessons that I learned from this trip. First, let's start with gear. The first stands out most in my mind is water. That Sawyer is great. The filter itself is great. Took most of the flavor out. There was a little bit of, like I had said, a little bit of a soil taste to it. Not bad. Definitely not a deal breaker there. But that bladder that comes with the Sawyer is horrible. You know, I'm sure if you've watched these kind of videos, you've seen other people talk about it. They're horrible. The bags are kind of inexpensively made, and they'll begin to leak and stuff. And it was a pain to fill. In 16 ounces, really isn't that much water. Somebody wants to sit on my lap. So yeah, that's the first thing that sticks out is the water. Boiling the water was fine. The stainless steel water bottle I had worked great for that, but that filter, it would be nice to be able to have a bigger capacity and easier to fill. And since then, since the trip, I watched a video just recently of it's like CDNC or something like that. They make bags that Sawyer Minis or Sawyer Mini, I believe, or Squeeze will screw right onto that bag, and the far end of the bag opens up. It folds over a couple times, and then there's a piece of plastic or like a clip that slides on to keep it clamped shut. So like I said, you can open that whole bag up and you can scoop that big bag instead of trying to fill through that small hole. So I think that's going to be added to my kit. And then there's a way to hang it so you could rig up a system so that it filters water while you're there. You know, you could hang that up, put my bush pot or my water bottle underneath that, and just let that filter water while you're off doing other chores. And then you can go back and fill the bag up or have other containers with dirty water and continue to have your water filtered for you while you're doing other things. The other thing was we had made it in, we probably went to bed around 10:30 or headed off to bed around 10:30. Took us a little bit to figure out, because it's both myself and Modern Refugee's first time doing an overnight like that. Took us a minute to figure out that you have to get into your sleeping bag, then lay down into your hammock, but once we figured that out, we were good to go there. But around, I think it was like 1:45, I had woke up and I was pretty cold. Again, all I had was that fleece that I'd shown you, a t-shirt, and then that canvas cover for warm gear. And then I had like a watch cap or ski cap, whatever you want to call it. So I woke up, my back was really cold. The front part of me was really warm because I had the green bag and I was in the bivvy from the military sleep system, but my back was cold from compressing the insulation in the green bag. So I think I might do like Modern Refugee did and just get one of the sunscreen things for your automobile. Seemed to work really good for him. They're really inexpensive and lightweight, so I think I'm going to try that before I do anything else. I did manage, though, to make it through that night. I took my fleece off, zipped it up, laid it on my back with the sleeves draped over my shoulders, and then put my cotton anorak, is what it's called, over top of that to hold it in place, and then that worked just fine. I made it through the rest of the night. It was about 4:30 when I woke up, but that's about 6 hours of sleep, and that's really all I usually ever get anyway. So yeah, other than that, you know, the rest of me was fine. My legs, my feet were fine. I never even changed out my wool socks to I had a heavier set in my pack. Feet were pretty dry when I went to bed, and I just climbed into bed. So, but yeah, that would be, especially, it got down to 46 degrees that night. So, I mean, that's a lesson learned by actually going out and testing your gear. So, and I guess that's a good way to transition into the next thing. Instead of doing this here, I kind of wished I would have shot this in the morning, because that morning, said I'd woke up at 4:30, around 5 o'clock. I think I finally got out of my hammock, went and started to fire up, and just kind of sat there and enjoyed listening to the birds. It was quite overcast, so there was no sunrise, but just got to sit out there and enjoy the morning. But I could have shot this then, or even later in the day. But that's something that I would think I need to work on, is maybe taking a list of shots of stuff that I wanted. Like I didn't have a shot of me starting the fire. If you want to see that, you can go to Modern Refugee's channel, and if you don't already subscribe to him, you know, it's probably something that you definitely should do. He's got lots of good information. But other than those few things, there really wasn't anything else that I was, you know, wanting for. Pretty much had it all set. So when I get home, I'll share this with you. One of the things I like to do when I'm going through my bag and getting the trash out and pulling the dishes out to get them washed is I like to take the rest of the gear and put it into 3 piles. Do a pile of stuff that I used, then you got a pile of stuff that you didn't use, and your third pile is the stuff that you didn't use, and stuff that you're going to continue to take anyways. A perfect example of that is your first aid gear. You know, hopefully you didn't have to get into it, but it's still something that you're going to want to take. So can't really. Yeah, the only thing that I had in the didn't use pile was an extra battery pack for charging my my phone / camera. But like I had said, I want to do, there's some more filming. I wish I would have got a couple more shots, so I'll keep that just in case I get a little carried away. Recording on your phone, I don't know if you guys have done it or not, but it chews through a battery pretty fast. So yeah, can't think of anything else that I didn't use or that I wanted. I got pretty lucky on this one, I think, for first time, as I had my gear pretty much squared away. I'm sure next time I'll screw that up a little more. Just the way things go, right? That's pretty much all I've got, other than a huge thanks to Modern Refugee. Obviously, if it wasn't for him, this trip would have never happened, since we were on his property and it was his idea. Thanks for inviting me along, and I was able to bring you guys along. Huge thanks to you guys for watching these videos. If you got any questions or any kind of constructive criticism, you know, throw it in the comments. I'd like to hear it. You know, trying to make this or learning how to do this stuff. So, if you got any pointers that might be helpful, I'd love to hear them. But other than that, you know, like, share, and subscribe as you guys see fit. You guys have a great day.